Hey everybody. Some people asked about how could we sort through a list and change sort of the arrangement. And I think this is a great question. And it was actually Michelle. So thank you for asking this. It's something I would like to cover, but we're uh, a little crunched on time. So this video might help. This is a list of integers, and they're all not sorted. They're sort of random values. We could change them to be whatever we want. Um, and we want to resort the list to be in order. Maybe you're doing this if you're trying to find out what video has the most views or the least views, or what student scored the best on a test. So here's how we do this. What we want to do is we want to use this thing called a nested for loop, where we take every value from 7 all the way to the end, and we really want to just compare it to the numbers that go before it and sort of reorder them. We start off with a loop that starts with the index at I of 1. So that means the first value we're going to check is 7. And we want to check it with all the numbers that are before it. So the first thing we're going to check, hey, is 7 greater than 1? That's sort of what we want to kind of ask. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to pause the code right here, and we'll sort of see how this works. So when I first run the code, it stops and it says, hey, I is 1, and I put them down here in the watcher, and we're going to run this loop for all the way from 7, and we're going to check with every number. And here's where the checks are going to happen. So we're going to make a second variable so we can check all the numbers from 1 up to the one before we're checking with I. Right now, this is saying, hey, is 0 less than 1? Because we're checking j less than I. And it is. So the first check we're running is list 1 less than list 0. And that is false. So that's actually a good thing. So it doesn't have to change anything at this point. Now it's going to check. It's going to say, all right, 1 is not less than 1. So I'm going to go back to the big loop. I'm going to make I 2 now. So we're going to check, is 2 in the right spot? Because list 2 is 2. But if you see there's a 7 right here, this is where some stuff's going to start happening. So we're checking, hey, okay, 0 is less than 2. This is going to be false, but j is going to increase. And now we're going to check. Here's what we're going to check. We're going to check, is list 2, which is the value 2, less than list j, which is list 1, which is 7. And that is actually a true statement, so we need to make a switch. So let's see what sort of happens right here. The first thing I did, I want to just display what those two values are. So we can see that 2 is indeed less than 7 down here. And then these 3 lines sort of make a variable. So we can switch out the values. So x acts as a sort of placeholder. We switch the values, and then we're going to display them. So now it should say list I is 7 and list j is 2. So now we've actually switched the whole order of our list. And it actually might be good to add one more thing in here, just so we can sort of see what the list is at each point. So I'm going to rerun it and get to the point where we were at. Now let's put it in here actually, so it doesn't run every single time. It's only going to run once we make a change. So we'll see our new list. Our list is now 1, 2, 7. So that actually changed the values. And now we're going to do it again. And it's actually going to change again, right? Because 7 is less than 0. So that should change. So let's check that out. Um, so it should say um, list I, and currently I is 3. And you can see the is 0. So it should say list I is 0. List J is currently 0, which is 1. And it's going to switch those values. And you can see they switched right here. And it's going to do that again. I'm going to hide this so you guys can see it a little bit better. And it's going to keep going through. And it is definitely going to take a little bit because it's going to have to go through one by one and check each value. And now this looks right, 0, 1, 2, 7. So when we scroll up a little bit, you'll see that we're going to jump back to the big loop and go one step over. And we did. And it's going to continue this process. As you see, it's going to go one by one. It takes a little bit of time. And the numbers are slowly getting in the right order, but we have to go through every item. So I'm just going to run the whole code and we'll see what we end up with. And if you look, our last result is displayed, -5, -5, 0, 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7. You could also use this to do the opposite if you wanted to. It should go from the opposite order. It should be 100, 9, 7, 5, 4, 2, and it is. So if you want to try that out, please do. I'll share this code with you too.